Hi, I'm Zach Kazan, editorial director at Worn & Wound, and today we're asking members of our team what their collecting goals for 2026 are. It's a new year, new opportunities to acquire watches, or maybe cull the herd a little bit, depending on what your point of view is. So yeah, we'll get to the rest of the team momentarily, but for my part, I really bought way too many watches in 2025. I went a little overboard, and I love all the watches I picked up. I think most of them, if not all of them, are true long-term keepers. But this year, my goal is to really just kind of like enjoy what I have and slow down a little bit and maybe refine the collection a little bit and think carefully about the watches I wear and the watches I don't, and pass some of the watches that I don't wear as often along to other collectors. So I'm going to be thinking very carefully about any new watch that I add to the collection this year. But yeah, let's check out what our colleagues think about collecting watches in 2026.
My collecting goals for 2026, it's really a singular goal. It's to buy a lot less and to be much more specific. If I buy anything at all, last year I kind of bought a handful of things, more than I anticipated, and I really like all those watches, so none of them are leaving. So if I were to come across a watch this year that I was interested in, it'd really have to satisfy a few things. I think it'd have to be independent. I probably would have to have some unique functionality, or at least a movement that is not standard, something that stood out from the rest of my collection. And yeah, probably lean more into sort of like the handcraft side of things. I've kind of gotten into the finishing and things like that. And that tends to be on the more expensive side of things too. So whether or not I have sort of a budget for that is really the question. As these things go, the watches tend to happen before the budget gets allocated anyway.
All right, so my watch collecting goals for 2026 are part goal, part prediction, and part hot take. So I've been thinking a lot about this, but I think that as watch enthusiasts, I don't know about you, but I'm definitely starting to feel like I have plenty of dive watches in my collection. I have plenty of field watches in my collection. I have plenty of analog watches in my collection. And I'm really feeling drawn to more and more unique digital and ani-digi watch designs. There's some really cool ones that have come out in the past couple of years from micro brands. And I think micro brand owners are probably going to start dabbling more and more with digital and ani-digital in their own collections. We saw Autodromo come out with a digital watch a couple years ago. We saw Brew come out with an ani-digi timer watch last year. I think this is a trend we can count on, and seeing more really cool digital watch designs, really cool ani-digi layouts and readouts coming out. And that's what I'm going to be looking to add to my collection in 2026.
So my collecting goals for 2026 is to diversify the type of watches I have within my current collection. Some of the models that really stick out to me are moon phase watches, not only for functionality, but I find them to be gorgeous. I also developed an interest in jumping hour watches after seeing the Bremont jumping hour at Wind Up New York, and a couple of brands that are, I guess, doing the jumping hour in my type of style is Mr. Jones watches. They have an eclectic collection of really artsy jumping hour watches that I would love to add to my collection this year. And I would also like to expand my reach into vintage watches a little bit more. I only have one piece, and vintage thrift in general is an interest of mine, so it would be cool to build on that.
I find it so difficult now to really be inspired or pushed to pick up something new. Now it's literally, I find myself so going away from technical specifications and things that I used to really harken on when I was first getting into this. And now so much of this is such a passion and emotional thing for me, where before I even look to buy another watch, I have to just, like, it really just needs to call me. Like, it needs to whisper in my ear, Ricardo, this is yours. Now, don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean I'm not completely looking for anything. There is something that continues to repeat in my head, the same group of words: chronograph, manual wound, thicker, not thicker than a Snicker, thin, with date, great proportions. Those are just some specifications. but there are many watches out there that check those specifications, but none of them have truly ignited that flame for me again. So it's funny, I find myself going from that specification king to now really this being an emotional thing for me. So for 2026, I'm looking for something to knock me off my feet.
Honestly, my collecting goals, and this might be somewhat of a strange answer, is really to just kind of enjoy what I have in my collection right now. I feel like in 2025, I picked up a lot of new pieces for my collection, and I definitely want to avoid, I wouldn't say a pitfall, but I definitely want to avoid just like continuing to collect and just like trying to chase that next thing. Instead, like really look at what I have, what I love about them, grow to love them even more, and then maybe down the line see if I am missing anything, if anything at all. To be honest, I've never even thought of myself as a collector, so it is an interesting question. But before I knew it, I kind of amassed one without really thinking about it. So the fact that like I kind of amassed this collection as is, then it, in a way feels somewhat thoughtless. I want to be more thoughtful about the things that I have this year.
That's it for 2026. Let us know what you're targeting, what you're looking to add to your collection in the comment section below. Thanks for following us. We'll see you next time.